Hey, I'm Justin.
This is Chaz.
Join us as we look back together, but learn to stay present.
Come with us as we rise up with hope on the horizon.
This is the podcast of extraordinary millennial gentlemen.
I'm curious. I'm going to rewind a little bit. So
to the toilet situation. Negative. Move on.
Negative. Not that kind of rewind.
Yep.
Don't want that playback. Back to sorry. So Andrew, you had mentioned this and like the quality time with your spouse. I know personally, like from having the first kid to the new jobs, the new roles, the shifting, the moving, this and that. And I don't know, we liked being around our kids. So we have very, very rarely ever gotten a babysitter other than family. And for us at different locations, they maybe weren't present. So it was really hard to ever like schedule an actual date or anything like that. So just curious if you're kind of in the same boat and what maybe works in your situation, just to throw out some ideas if anybody else is in kind of my boat where it's like, even now with what's, it's just hard for us to do that still. And a little bit of kind of parent guilt to be like, we're, leaving our kid with someone else so we can go spend time, which is I think is for some people, they struggle with that like we do. And so trying to get some ideas personally, and then maybe it helps other people being a little selfish here.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I think that does apply to a lot of people, like you said, like, so like my wife suffers from depression, and it's like very important that we have quality time together.
Yeah.
Like I can get in the zone with work and with school and in a routine. And I think that can happen to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But then like, if we don't find that time together, then that relationship can start to deteriorate. And that deterioration creates a larger deficit than any guilt or displeasure from going out on a date and leaving our kids behind.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I think at that point, it's more like you're weighing the negatives and the positives, and you're making a decision of what you think is going to be best for the family.
Yeah.
Because if you've got, you may be able to take care of the family financially, and, your wife may be able to take care of the kids at home and take care of their needs. But if something's not right in between you and your spouse, then those repercussions can expand outside of your direct relationship and can start to impact your kids and the day-to-day. Yeah. And that's where I think we went through that phase of like, like I feel bad leaving and like, I don't know so my wife's a nurse and she deals in postpartum. So she like takes care of the mom and the baby right after the baby's born. And so I don't know if my wife sees that stuff day in and day out when she works. I don't know if that plays a part in the lack of us feeling like we have to be at home all the time with our kids, where I don't know if that like desensitizes her a little bit, where she's like, no, the kids are going to be fine. And for whatever reason,
right.
Like you said, I think there's lots of reasons why people would maybe choose to not go out and want to stay at home with their kids. But I think that probably plays a part in our family. Like, cause we'll be like, as soon as the baby, we'll have a baby, and it'll be like, as soon as that baby is like, we're comfortable leaving them for a couple hours, we'll go to dinner. And we'll put the baby down and have my mom come over, and we'll go. And because, we need that time. That time for her and I is very important. And that's not necessarily to say that, we've got to go out and do something. We've got to go to dinner. We've got to go see a movie, anything like that. We do a lot of board games. Like I'm a super huge board game fan. And so that's one thing too, where her and I could sit down and play a board game for an hour and a half together. And there's a lot of conversation that can occur over a board game. And I'm not talking about like Clue and Outburst Junior and stuff like that. Like I'm into like more advanced games where
strategy
they're an hour and a half, 2 hours long. And so those are good opportunities for the wife and myself to talk about stuff,
Nice.
Be alone, come down to the basement and pull a game off the shelf and play together. But so, I mean, to answer your question, I think that moral of the story is it comes down to, if we don't get that time alone where we can spend that quality time together and have that substance like we talked about earlier, then I think things can deteriorate and it can really start to impact that family unit.
Yeah.
I like what you said about, because I'm a finance econ guy, and just talking about a deficit, you create an automatic deficit and it may not be apparent until the next time you have to make a transaction, or you're like, let me go to my reserve. So I'm thinking, and I'm not trying to go too deep into the metaphor. But you got to tap into reserve like a crisis or a challenge or a sickness, and it doesn't have to be the typical really, really tough situation from the outside looking in. Yeah. It can be like, hey, I have one of our kids that I worry about all the time, that my wife and I worry about all the time. And it's a stressful thing to have that worry build up and then not talk about it.
Yeah.
And we could just talk about it and kind of connect. But if there's a deficit in closeness, then it might come out like an argument. It might be like, geez, can you believe what that kid did? And you come out as a point of concern, but it's interpreted as like, why are you attacking the children? That's very dramatic and not, indicative of words we use over here in our house. But that starting from a deficit, you don't know until you go to cash something in and try and get some mutual understanding or bring up a tough subject or go through something difficult together. And then you're like, oh crap, this is rockier than I thought.
I don't know how many times I've, something sparks where my wife and I will get in an argument and I'm like, where is this coming from?
Married people don't argue. Don't lead our audience
to just disagree.
Perfection.
Come on.
It's just
perfection.
Just a disagreement. Come on.
Sorry, go ahead.
But you'll look back and realize like, gosh, it's because we haven't been spending quality time together. And like literally like, and like you said, Justin, I think what ends up happening is like you're both dealing with the same problems.
Yes.
But someone ends up on a different level. And you may not, that's not intentional, but I think that sometimes happens where then when you say something, you didn't mean it like that, but it came across egregious or whatever the case may be. And then now there's an argument and it's like, well, it's because you don't spend any time with me anymore. And then things come up that you're like, yes, I know I did that. I see that. And it's just so much like, there's so many problems that can happen all the time.
Yeah.
And if you're not on the same page, if you're not on the same wavelength as your spouse, gosh, the problems are hard enough as it is, let alone dealing with a disagreement or a misunderstanding. And the majority, I would say, are misunderstandings.
Yeah.
Hey, I said something and I didn't mean it like that, but I can, like, the biggest thing that has helped me in probably one of the biggest things that's helped me in my relationship with my wife is I'll say something. Usually it's me. I say something and it'll hurt my wife's feelings. And instead of me going, well, why do you feel like that? And attacking to try and justify where I came from, my wife will say, when you said this, it made me feel like this. And I'll go,
ooh,
yeah, I can see, I didn't mean it that way, but I can see how you received it that way. And that has made all the difference. And I'm not saying it like, oh, anytime there's an argument, I just use that line and it resolves it. So guys, like, use that line.
Write this down.
That's the secret.
Yeah, no.
If that was the case, you should write a
literally-
book and make money on that.
I literally just try to look at it as like, okay, if I would have said that to myself in this type of scenario, I can see why she took it that way. And just the fact, just me taking that perception to that next level and putting myself in her shoes
Neutralize.
resolves
De-escalate.
90% of any issue, because then she goes, okay, he didn't mean it, but he sees why I took it that way and he's apologetic for it. Instead of, well, I said it because of this, and me trying to justify why she shouldn't feel that way.
Wait,
That's not how it works, guys.
I'm not supposed to do that. Sorry.
We just went serious, didn't we?
Oh man.
Hey, let me throw this out there though.
Yeah.
Real factor in my house. When those scenarios happen, Andrew, and Chaz, I have to typically take a pause. I'm trying to get to a resolution until the kids are down, less chaotic. Because the last time there was kind of a blow up of emotions in our marriage, it was like the kids were not the reason, but gosh, they are just a factor. They can, they sense and they know when there's tension. They don't process it because in the case of my kids, they're not even 6 years old. Right. But they know. And so getting to that level of resolution typically takes putting, the kids need to go to bed. It's not, okay, hurry and punish the kids, like throw them outside, but it's like, I can't address and connect on this. We have to just do a ceasefire and let all the bodies get picked up off the battlefield. Like, you go pick up your dad, I'll pick up mine. And then when the kids are down, we'll get the swords back out or, draw the lines again. But usually by then there's a cool down period as well. But that's really good. Makes a lot of sense to me, what you're saying. It's very difficult to do, but kudos to you for having those skills. And we're just recognizing that pattern and the importance of that for resolution.
Yeah. No, I think those are great. I am curious if you could throw out a few titles for maybe a more like the most advanced game I've ever played board game wise. I mean, we like board games. There's some we really don't like. So like if I were to say, let's play Ticket to Ride, my wife would, I don't know why we have it in the closet, but that's one where she's like, don't even talk to me. But
you took my route from Santa Fe to Denver, I'll never let you live in town.
It's like she's got this hidden competitiveness that she didn't own up to till very recently, and so she's just like, I'm finding I'm so competitive I cannot play that game. So that one's off the table. So no suggestions there. But like other games like Carcassonne, if you play Carcassonne, that's like maybe
I've heard of Carcassonne. I think we have that.
Faves. So what other games? What are some go-to or any recommendations in that?
You want to see something?
Sure. Maybe.
You want to see something?
Well, this guy's blocked on YouTube.
Yeah. Do I need to mark that this was not made for children?
Okay, so here is the selection.
This is the first Cribs episode we've ever done, Justin.
That is. Yo, what's up?
What's up? This is P. Diddy. I just got my chains. No, okay. So here is my game selection.
That is crazy.
Okay, so game time with Andrew. The recommendation. Here's a couple recommendations for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Azul.
Azul.
It's this bad boy right here.
Non-sponsored.
Okay. Ooh.
All right.
Patterns.
Yeah, they're not my sponsor, but they want to send me the free expansions. It would be accepted. Because I know what you mean by like Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride can be cutthroat. Like my wife doesn't like playing Ticket to Ride because it's like, okay, I'll play with you, but we can't cut each other off. And it's like, well, then why are we playing?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the game.
Don't make me mad.
Yeah. The other one I would say, if you guys know Yahtzee, right?
Yep.
There's a game called Dice Throne.
Okay.
And it's like Yahtzee on steroids.
Okay.
Look it up. We won't get into it.
Sure. No, much
That's
appreciated.
Sharing time with Andrew. You're welcome.
It's like, roll that beautiful bean footage. Show me that wall.
And then another one. So we kind of asked this one to everybody. So I'm curious. Me and Justin are big consumers of books, whether that's Kindle, physical, audio, whatever.
Yeah.
And it may not be something you've read recently because maybe that's all just been textbooks, and I completely understand. But if there's any along the lines of recommendations, if there's any books that just stand out in your life, that you're just like, yeah, you've got to check this out, because we've got a reading list, and we're taking a bunch of these and adding them to these reading lists, because the ones we hear it's usually very interesting to dig in and dive into what spoke to you. So I don't know, do you have any books around that kind of scenario?
So we were talking about, what do you do to stay sane and stay level-headed with all the schooling and work and everything at home? One of the things I really enjoy doing, and it sounds like you guys like audiobooks, is I listen to audiobooks every time I'm driving.
Yeah.
I drive between production facilities. So that's like 20 to 30 minutes each way. Yeah. And I've got an audiobook that I listen to that it helps me pass the time, gives me a time to do something a little bit less intense, and then let my mind wander a little bit too. So my recommendation, I haven't really been into a lot of like the self-help books.
Sure.
Like I read Millionaire Next Door, and that was good. Yeah. I felt like that was really repetitive. A lot of case studies.
Buy your jeans at Walmart. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. But if you're looking for a good fantasy, the author is Brandon Sanderson.
Oh yeah.
Okay. We are both fans, so keep going.
Okay, good. So I've read a lot of his, I've listened to a lot of his stuff. And so right now, I'm going through some different novellas of his. But right now there's, have you guys read the Stormlight Archives?
Oh yes.
I have not.
Those are good.
His new one really just came. Have you started the new one?
No, I have. So Rhythm of War.
Yes. Okay.
I've only read 2 of the books.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to pace myself.
Oh, gotcha. It's a marathon.
I know, but I think it's like a 9 or 10 book series. And so I don't want to, I hate reading all the way up to it and then waiting for release. So I try to I'll read one of them and then I'll fill in some other stuff in between, and then I'll read the next one and then I'll fill in some other stuff. So he just released one called Rhythm of War.
Yeah.
But I've just read the second book, so I need to start the third. But that one's been really good. And then have you also read the Mistborn series?
I don't think I've done the Mistborn. I've done his other series, the Starlight series.
Okay.
And
like Skyward.
Yeah, Skyward and those ones, as well as the 1 through 3 book. I have his new one. I haven't even started it. There's like multiple sections and they are each like ridiculously long.
Yeah.
But
Chaz doesn't have a commute.
I am struggling lately. That is my biggest struggle. I used to have like 2 hours every day going to downtown Chicago and back to get in my audio fix.
Yep.
And now if I sleep in and don't get my 30 minutes on the treadmill, I get 0 audiobook time.
Yeah.
It's tough because
you were a big consumer.
Yes. Yeah.
You have an appetite.
I'm like, I get the shakes sometimes when I don't get my audiobook.
Your
Input.
Data.
Please.
Johnny
Johnny
Five. Well done.
So Chaz, you got to look that one up.
Okay.
Mistborn is a really, really good trilogy. It was an easier read than Stormlight.
Oh yeah.
But Stormlight seems a lot more in depth as far as characters and background and storyline. But Mistborn's still one of his like more advanced novels as far as like readability. But it was a really good one too.
Yeah, I do have to say, and this isn't a book review for him. Maybe we should have one, and I think we could probably get like 5 of us on. I've got some other friends that are Sanderson friends, and like just all chat about a particular book. It would be nice.
Yeah. Nerd out.
I had to get
start a
kind
wiki
of
page.
Yeah, you'll have to get caught up on these Justins, but you'll
have a hard time with novels, but that's okay. I do have an imagination.
Yeah. I really struggled through his first 2. I mean, just the names and the places, keeping them straight in my head was super difficult, but I couldn't put it down. I was very much the opposite of you. I binge read all 3 in like 3 weeks or something. Like I was not sleeping. I was just like, I'd put it to play next to my head on my pillow and I'd be like, it's 4 a.m. I have to get up in an hour. What did I just do?
Do you know where your mind is?
I like entered the Matrix and came out and had no clue of what time just passed.
You think that's air you're breathing?
I should have took the blue pill, or was it the red? I don't remember.
I know Kung Fu. Sorry.
Show me. So yeah. Yeah, that's all in my head, Justin. I don't know. Any remaining thoughts for you?
I don't think so. I mean, I learned a lot. I think it's great to have a reminder of meaningful time and quality time, and that it doesn't have to fit a date. It doesn't have to fit a book definition of what that is, but it's catered to you and your spouse. So I'm taking that away. I hope the audience is too. It's a big opportunity, whether you're married or not. Quality time with relationships right now is super, super important in the world that we live in and the distractions that are out there. It's just giving me more to think about. No questions for me. Miss you like heck, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for spending some time with us today. Hope you find hope and joy throughout this upcoming week. If you've liked this podcast, please hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next week.
I ate my grandma.